Hey, welcome to another end boss guide for tanks. Just killed Raszageth, so I figured I might as well record this early. Um, it's gonna be more tank focused than in the past, so maybe if you're not a tank, I don't know how good this will be, but we'll see. First of all, just quickly gear, yeah, nothing special, 4-piece lariat, like the usual stuff you would have as a monk here. Aeronautic ring, still using the Cobalt assembly ring because it's doing the most damage, even doing more damage than Aeronautic ring. Grief Torch if you have it, of course, and Incarnate Icon because it's good for the raid. If you have it, you don't. You're missing one of these, and instead you have a Storm Eater's Boon, for example, that can be useful in phase one. That's another good option. Other than that, yeah, these three trinkets, I guess, are the best ones. Crafted weapon. And then my talent setup is a little bit different to the default, I guess. Mainly taking this Transcendence talent here, which you don't never take anywhere else, I guess. Um, Not taking the avoidance because we have a Windwalker monk. Otherwise, that might be an option. Yeah, third roll charge here. Yeah, for phase one mainly. Might not necessarily need it anymore after the nerfs, but still nice to have. Over here, actually taking Search because it's making timers a little bit easier on Weapons of Order. Um, Not taking any of these two, just taking Pretense of Instability because it's pretty good as a over 50% uptime throughout the boss. So yeah, decided to go Black Ox Brew. I switched around a lot of these, but I think Black Ox Brew is better. More options. Still using light brewing, even though Celestial Brew is already on the low CD, but it's enabling some more usage in the first transition, for example, and more purify in general. I think it's still better than Training of New Zao. Everything else should be kinda standard. So we'll just jump right into the pull. Um, First of all, my opener is a little bit different, maybe because I'm mainly looking out for threat here. Instantly, as I taunt, I do as much threat as possible with exploding kick, so it might not be optimal, but DPS doesn't matter much in phase one anyway. So your main objective here is just surviving and making sure the tank thing goes on the correct target. Torching late here to benefit from Weapons of Order. Um, Phase 1 in general, not very exciting as a tank. You just stack on the other tank here, make sure that the Ring of Peace is hitting as many camps as possible. So this is like trying to make a triangle here. Ring of Peace is extremely strong for this mechanic. I'm hitting our camp, this camp, and kind of this one. And if they CC their ad and it teleports into the ring, it just instantly breaks again. Mine was a little bit short, but like I stun them now, and then maybe one teleports back. Yeah, and you also interrupt and paralyze here to get them more stacks out. I leg sweep on the first, third, and fourth ads, and then on the second one you have Arcane Torrent. You're a Blood Elf, of course. If you're not, then it doesn't really matter much. Transcendence I use on the first, third, and the fifth winds. So right here, first one's just whatever, you teleport and 2 rolls and you stay on the boss. One thing to note maybe about the wins for tanks, want to make sure the boss doesn't move. Right, this failed here. First wins, the warriors tanking the boss, and the boss actually moves a little bit. But it doesn't matter that much anymore since the nerfs. If he moves too much, just make sure to drag him.
Buddy left your channel.
Sorry about that. Move him away again. You also saw at the pull, yeah, like how the warrior pulls it to the side, and then I pull it over here. That's how you get it closer to the edge than if you would just move it normally. Yeah, if he moves, then it's kind of whatever. Just make sure to drag her back again. So after the first wins, nothing really happens again for tanks. It's like the theme of the phase. One thing maybe for Monk here, you still have 10 seconds of this debuff. It's actually exactly 2 auto hits you're gonna get. Normally I would have enough elusive brawler stacks to not to have a guaranteed dodge. I don't have it here. Still dodge. So the idea is one of the middies I just dodge, the other I Celestial Brew, and then I reset it with Black Ox Brew to have it up for the next mechanic I want it on. Second wins, I'm taking the boss. Again, you don't want the boss to move. This is gateway, so I press W, but letting myself get pushed back. Use the gateway, and then instantly spam roll against it. You can use all 3 roll charges here. Stack up again. Diffuse here. I use Dampen on the first one, by the way. This is Arcane Torrent. All of these. Also, Celestial Brew for this stack up, because you're gonna get the jaws right after. Should last for both easily. No damage. Now again, not much for me because Warrior's tanking these wins.
User disconnected from your channel.
It's TeamSpeak 1 second.
Disconnected.
Yeah, wins, it'll depend on your off tank. If you have a DK, for example, DK can just take every wins and the boss never moves. In our case, Warrior was a little bit better than, more consistent than Monk. Because Heroic Leap is pretty OP when you have 2 of them with Time Spiral. So this is another teleport. Yeah, I roll once, teleport, then use my second teleport from the talent. Roll again, I'm back at the boss. Need to taunt instantly, because he still has the debuff. He's tanking him with the debuff because the boss does a melee during wins, but yeah. Sometimes, like usually the boss would breath here. Sometimes it skips. Not exactly sure why, just ready to taunt. Anyway. Another stack up. Again, this is where you Celestial Brew. It is always the same for you with this timing. Yeah, you stack up, and right after that you get the jaws. So always brew for this. Also important to use your stun instantly here. Yeah, it has to be your first global, otherwise you won't have it for the next set. And fourth pushback, before the wind nerf, I was using the Storm Eater Spoon, like the Thea trinket here. Then I would also tank the boss because it's impossible, like the boss can't move then. Since the nerf, I changed it, and I just use 4 rolls because we have Time Spiral. I have 4 roll charges. It looks close, but I also drifted a little bit to the side. If you're middle, it's super free. If you have Time Spiral and Raw up, that is. Which most guilds probably should have. And I Tiger's Lust once the Raw runs out, get back in. Place Transcendence here. This is my stack point for the next ads. Again, same thing. I'm gonna get 2 melee hits here while I'm still debuffed. One of them I'm gonna dodge. The other one is Celestial Brew. Actually, in this case, I didn't dodge any. It kind of depends on your blackout kicks, but even if you get one at 100% HP, it just does 60% of your damage. Expel harm in full again. You can, like, if your other tank is okay with it, you can also just let him take a melee hit and it's fine. You can split the 2 buffed melee hits between both tanks. Fifth wins, you actually want the boss to move a little bit towards you, so I gateway. Then I let myself get drifted relatively far back. Sometimes I even stop pressing W to intentionally make the boss move further. Then use the remaining roll charges, teleport exactly on my stack position, or like close to it, stick with my code tank again. Celestial Brew for the hit into jaws. Use the Ring of Peace again for this triangle here. It's a lot happening at the same time here. This is gonna need some practice, and especially if the boss does get another HP nerf at some point, you will 100% skip the 5th wins. Like, you can already do it now, but we opted not to. You might opt to do that, so then it might get a lot easier. But also timings are gonna be weird if you do it, yeah. Because right now I depend on this push timing with my CD timings. So if you push earlier, maybe you want to not use your second Weapons of Order to have it up for the transition. Same with Grief Torch. So look out for that. But yeah, we push during the cast here. So getting some brew reduction in. Because you actually want to keep up this buff. This is why I actually let myself intentionally get stunned here to refresh my stagger. Otherwise your stagger runs out and then you can't purify. I want to keep these stacks so I can Celestial Brew in the transition. The transition will have 2 possible outcomes. I'm gonna watch this one first. This is, by the way, the engineering thing. It's Shadowlands engineering. 1 second. It's this one, Shadowlands engineering. It reduces your fall damage and does damage to the shield. So threat on this is often a huge problem. First of all, your DPS needs to understand that threat can be an issue here, that they can't instantly AoE everything the moment they spawn. On some waves you will have tricks, or at least you should, or maybe misdirection. All of those should be assigned, but they still need to be aware of that. Mostly important is the Runa, of course, but you should always have threat on that. The 3 Vanguards and the Zealot. Yeah, first global should be Weapons of Order. With research, you're already doing a lot of damage. Into Bone Dust Brew, into Exploding Keg. That already, after that, you don't have any aggro issues. So this is the case where the first breath happens on my side, then you want to instantly interrupt your ad and move away. And then afterwards, someone should stun these. In our case, that's the H does this. And everything is already dead. No casts anymore. These casts, like, 1 cast getting through is fine. Usually no one dies from that. But if a second one goes through and it goes on the same target, or someone with the Runa debuff, they will most likely die. So that's actually pretty important. Now we have to wait for the 3rd breath before we go here. It happens like you saw the background here. Yeah, I already see these lightnings because the boss is behind me. That's when I know I can go. Found the Runa because people were already attacking it from far. Also, this shit can't be broken up too early. Like, if you're really fast, we at some point just had to hard stop, because if the shield is broken too early while you're still baiting, then you're kind of screwed. Here I have a macro to instantly target the Zealot and Grief Torch it, because this one needs to die before it does the healing absorb. And also stun, which is nice because, first of all, I'm not taking any damage, and if I lost threat on anything, it isn't hitting anyone else. Then yeah, now should be the rest of interrupts. This one is casting a little bit, but generally the second ad isn't as important to interrupt casts because you are not getting the heal absorb. You kill it fast enough, which you should be doing. Then we rush over to the 3rd ad. Again, you will have Bone Dust Brew up, Exploding Keg soon, so that should help you with threat. Be a stun coming up now, yep, the DH stun, and then afterwards is interrupt. Early on, this was a bit sketchy with the healing absorb, so people just health stoned or health potted. You can also touch of death 1 target here, or maybe you want a touch of death the Zealot in the last group. Either works. Okay. So this is when you get the 1st breath. Now this is how it looks if you get the 2nd breath.
Gleich, mach das ready.
If you get the 2nd breath, you want to stun early, so allows the DH stun, and then you want to interrupt. These interrupts are always going to be fast casts because they're already low HP. You need to be ready to instantly interrupt. We also have some other disrupts that are happening. Now you chill, wait for the breath, and once the breath comes, you instantly move to the next ad. No more waiting of the next breath. In the other case, again, same thing with Grief Torch here. I should also be stunning, yep. Now this is the, in total, 4th breath, 2nd on our platform. But now we actually wait. We wait super long here, because we are far ahead. We need to wait until the next breath happens before we break this shield. The Ranger already lowering it a little bit, but don't break it. Then I range taunt it, we go in. Same thing again, yeah, nothing changes here, really. Again, Boneless Brew, Exploding Kick, same thing. Could be another stun here, and then into interrupts. Can also Ring of Peace them sometimes if you don't have a DK on your side. I usually, if any ad wasn't interrupted and then stood in the breath, we just had it gripped. But maybe you want to Ring of Peace it. In terms of defensives, on the first set of ads, I use Dampen. The second, I don't use anything. But you want to have a Celestial Brew probably for that one. And then on the third one, it's Fortifying Brew. And yeah, that marks the end of the transition, I guess. We go back to the boss. P2. So you want to instantly start doing damage. Place Transcendence in the middle, which has multiple uses. We'll see in a little bit. Get to your Storm Surge position, which should be assigned for each player. I'm holding this Weapons of Order, so I don't get another use out of it if I use it too early. Here, I check. For us, blue goes under the boss and red stacks outside. So if I would have gotten blue, I instantly Transcendence into the middle. It's really important that your Transcendence is exactly in the middle. Otherwise, like if I have it only here, I would collide with the DK. So it needs to be exactly in the middle. But because I got red, I will run around this person, and this is where we meet up. About now is when I pop weapons, yeah. This is so it lines up, the damage buff from Weapons of Order lines up with the next Grief Torch. Works out perfectly like this. Sometimes if someone dies, you can also use an early Grief Torch, which you probably should do, because it's likely you get an extra use out of it. If you didn't, like in my case, Transcendence on the Storm Surge, you can Transcendence now for the wave to reduce damage there. Make sure to place a new Transcendence immediately after. This is where a Grief Torch, boss, you can see it here, still has the debuff from Weapons of Order, so I do, like, how much is it? I think 32% extra damage, I think. Again, triangle for these ads, for Ring of Peace. The first ones you can use everything except Arcane Torrent. It will all be up again. Also Dampen Harmed again for this combo. It's same as P1 basically. Yeah, Dampen Celestial Brew on the red mechanic. Just roll against these wins. They don't do too much to you as a monk. And again, Storm Surge, same thing. If I have teleport ready and I'm getting blue, like now, I'm teleporting in. It wasn't placed perfectly, so yeah, you can see it. Still, it's like 2 yards only to the DK, so you have to be really careful there. If you do get inversion, like I do here, make sure to, like if you have 2 camps outside, maybe check while you are standing in the middle which one has less people. That's where you want to go. So no one ends up being solo and then not getting the buff. Again, placing new Transcendence. These draws are before the spread once, so let's do it early. This one, I placed the Ring of Peace really, really early, because between the second and third ads in P2, there's only 40 seconds, so it's 5 seconds less than your Ring of Peace CD. So I use it super, super early, but I can still use it in the next ads. This is a bit chaotic here, because you get the Tempest Wings right after. So everyone needs to be ready to do everything to the ads. You can see I did the Ring of Peace here. This is gonna be someone else, because 2 people spread here. So instead help here. I actually didn't do anything. Wait, no, I leg sweep. I used leg sweep. Never mind. I thought I was interrupting and paralyzing as well, but I didn't. I could have done that as well. Okay, charges coming up again. There's something I sometimes do as a tank. It's not in this kill, but I have a creation prepared here. If a melee player gets charges like here, and they can't get out easily, I like to stand next to them and just take it, so that no one else can get hit by it. then they just get out and it's good. It doesn't really matter if I get it. Right? Like if you look, like maybe everyone would have made it out, but you can see here this monk is rolling. He might have still been in and gotten it, so it's better if I just take it and then you're safe. I only do this though in like if someone close by has it. Or maybe sometimes if you see two people are overlapping and they can't get out, maybe you can do it too. This Weapons of Order needs to be instantly on CD, by the way. Here, first global when it's up. That you get, because you want to get as much value out of it as possible before this third Storm Surge happens. Any damage you do during the third Storm Surge is not boss damage anymore. So when you do it in the first or second Storm Surge, it is boss damage because when you break the shield, you have more time until the boss does any mechanic. But at the third Storm Surge, you just push the transition afterwards. So I'm trying to get everything out before. I can't get this Grief Torch out before. You can't do that. You can't get 2 Grief Torches in if you do the second ads in the transition. So if you're on the red side in the transition, maybe you could if you use it on the first one. Again, this one is where I said I don't have Ring of Peace yet. I have it in 2 seconds. So instead we have a lot of people Arcane Torrenting here, which pretty much gets rid of all of them. And then I check which side does still need help. Yeah, I see 1, 1, 2. I see a 2 there. I Ring of Peace max range. I think I got like 1 stack of it. Sometimes there's more. Yeah, just help out where you can, basically. Now this Grief Torch, I actually try to time it at the very end of Storm Surge. Because there is a brief window after the Storm Surge where the boss is still taking damage. So I want the Grief Torch damage to go into that. Get it as low as possible. See, there's like 3.5 million left on Storm Surge. A Grief Torch now. Yeah, so the last 2 ticks basically go into this. Still taking damage, still taking damage. Now he stops taking damage. This is about the time you have. That's not a lot, but you can see he dropped 0.7% still. Okay, now we go into the second transition. Actually, yeah, I just place my statue over there because that's where the damage matters more. I only get threat on this one until I'm sure no healer can get more threat. Go over here where all the melee are baiting the breath. The other tank is tanking this one. One thing to note about these ads, which I think isn't very obvious and people might not notice, they don't melee hit. They only have their range hit. Even if as a tank you're standing in melee with them, they are still using their range hit. So ultimately it doesn't matter which tank is tanking which ad. You don't need to taunt swap after a teleport or something, because it still stays the same. Now this breath, we dodge here. I'm bad at dodging the balls, it doesn't really matter much. If the breath is baited perfectly, you can still be in melee range of this and continue hitting. I just wasn't risking it, yeah, there's no point. We had enough damage. It teleports away. At this point, the warrior is actually taunting this one, so the warrior right now is tanking both. Probably using some CD, I'm not sure. Because I'm helping with the ads. Yeah, Bone does brew and exploding kick. Still does a lot of damage. Maybe your stun might be assigned here as well. We had enough other stuns, but also you can now help with Ring of Peace if something is going wrong. Now I taunt this one before it teleports away, so that we both tank 1 again. One thing to note about these ads is important, you don't kick smash them. Like, basically, maybe it was at the first ads better. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a keg smash ready now, but if I had one, do not keg smash the big ad. Because if you do, the small ones get it, they're slowed, and then they are not synced in the middle anymore. Everyone needs to not AoE any slow on them accidentally. Or even worse, putting dots on them, like on the second wave. Like if I were to keg smash now into Breath of Fire, everything has Breath of Fire, and that might already be enough to break out of roots. These ones are now rooted in the middle. Yeah. This ad you wanna kill at basically the same time as this other one that you can see in the boss frames at the top right now. Want to sync this. Right now we can stop DPS because I can just touch the rest. Yeah, just had too much damage here in this case, so it's, yeah, whatever. Ideally it dies during this cast. The other one is a little bit high actually in our kill. Yeah, this is really bad if this happens actually, because now both ads are enraged. Once one of them dies, the other enrages, and it teleports away. Only has 100k, but still gets ticks through. So our rate drops really low. Still managed to do it, but it wasn't ideal. So you want to basically assign your DPS accordingly so that they both die about the same time. If you have a monk tank like me, remember that he can just solo the last 500k. Then just touch instantly as the other one dies. Also, like the last ads coming, since we don't have a second Mars route, because one of them was playing Vortex for the first ads, we just use the Ring of Frosts and double Ring of Peace, and then they don't get to the mob anymore. Now third phase, you can instantly dot the boss. She's not taking damage yet, but you can already dot. And we are intentionally not using the engineering boots here. You will take fall damage, but if you do take the engineering boots, well, I guess the rangers are using it, but melee should not, because you get rooted for like 2 seconds afterwards, and you might not be in melee range then, and actually lose 1 or 2 globals, so we don't engineering boot here. Instantly weapons of order. I don't grief torch yet, because I want to get the damage buffs on up first. I think I grief torch with 3 secs. You could also wait to 4. Doesn't matter too much. If you do have a monk tank, he should probably always take the first breath. This monk might be the best class for the breaths. Maybe DK is just as good. I just diffuse and Celestial Brew. I still have 400k shield left afterwards. The raid is taking no damage. Right. And start collecting some of these. It's about, like, this ring is about the edge where you want to collect them. Anything further out you don't want to do because you lose uptime. Maybe the only case is when there's a pull charge coming up, then sometimes you can go further out to make sure that it's not going through while you're being dragged away to somewhere else. During these culminating charges, I always Tiger's Lust one person. Didn't get it out here. I don't know why. I think I was still in the global. Just one. Like I shouldn't have used this global. And he probably wasn't in range anymore because, yeah, Tiger's Lust only has 20 yards, so not super easy to get them. Luckily, it was a mage, so I guess he lived. Also, if anyone dies in this phase, make sure to instantly grief torch. Like, one of the other mage died. Instantly grief torch. Because you never know when the next person died. Like right now, our DK died. So in 20 seconds, I have another grief torch. After the other tank took the blast, I always taunt the boss instantly, even though I still have the debuff. He obviously also has it. The first melee hit will always be a dodge because you have built up all your stacks. Then I use another Celestial Brew. Means the next melee hit does like no damage, and then if you do get another one, you can just purify it again. You will have this up for the next breath again, the Celestial Brew, easily. That's another Grief Torch again. This was because of the DK death. Really make sure you use those on cooldown. It does a lot of damage. I did like 2 million with Grief Torch only in the last phase. Third breath is Dampen with Celestial Brew. You do have an extra time dilation. You can use it. Like I could have used it here. You can also Black Ox Brew into a second Celestial Brew. Because Dampen isn't quite as strong as Diffuse, so be a little bit careful on the third one that you fully absorb it. And also Zen Meditation if you're not sure. This is the second set of fulminating charges. We do this with, I think, Rogue Soaks. I also Tiger's Lust one of them here, like I Tiger's Lust the glow, so that they get their root removed. Again, soak some of these. And you have a relatively long time of nothing happening. Generally, again, throughout the fight or this phase, make sure you have your Transcendence placed in the middle for the Tempest Wings. Here it is coming up. We have the pull in the middle into the wings. Get back to your position, which should also be assigned. And then teleport in. Don't take any damage. This beam is on the other tank, but you could swap here if you wanted to, because the 4th tank beam is delayed. It happens 1 minute after the 3rd, instead of the other ones that are only 30 seconds apart. So you can talk about this with your other tank. Maybe if you have a monk, you could be taking the 4th one instead. If that fits your CDs better, we decided to just stay like this. Warrior also always getting time dilation. That's really OP for this and necessary for Warrior, I think. Again, another wins. I just roll against this because I don't have Transcendence up yet. Now this is the last fulminating charges of the fight, which we wiped a bit on, and I see other guilds also wiping on a lot. What you really want to do here is to just suicide them, yeah? 3 people get it, everyone else gates, and these 3 people just die. Unless they have an immunity, they can immune, but otherwise literally just stay there. Don't even try to get away from the other people. It will just it will just create chaos. I still Tiger Lusted target just in case it is someone with an immunity that can like blink out or something. I don't know, right? But yeah, they do try to spread a little bit. You can survive it in the storm, but never go towards the camp. So if you are someone who gets this debuff, always go away from where the people are gating. Never go towards them. In our case, I don't even know who survived. Who even got this? Like, one person survived somehow. I think the healer survived. I think the healer got time dilation here, actually. I think that's how they survived. And that's actually pretty good play. Yeah, that we keep our healer here. That's really important. Didn't notice that until now. And then that's always probably always when you're gonna get a Grief Torch reset as well. But first I need to deal with this breath again. It's another diffuse with Celestial Brew. I also have Fortifying. Well, when did I Fort Brew? I don't know. I don't even know when I Fort Brewed. I just randomly Fort Brewed here for the time between tanking, I guess. It's fine too. Yeah, with Diffuse again, I had like 200k left, I think, when it ended. So that's free. Boss stays on me for a little while, because we thought that's better than on the warrior with debuff. Now he takes it. Now you have like an infinite time of nothing happening. The boss needs to die before these charges. This is how long you have. For us, we wouldn't have had that this much time, because the tank beam would have killed us. Like, this is the last melee hit. It kills our warrior, so now the boss is on me, which is a problem because I already have the debuff. I could have Zen meditation this, but probably still die because you take less double damage. The reason it doesn't kill the raid is because I'm at low HP already. You see, when I die now, everyone dipped lower just a little bit because I was already at low HP. So it didn't do as much damage as if I had more HP, actually. But yeah, ideally, it's just both tanks survive, and we would have had this time dilation on the warrior, and everything would have been fine. This is why maybe you want to consider Monk taking the 4th and 6th, because Monk is just really good against this tank beam, instead of only taking the 5th one. Although the 5th one is also very important, because I think that's It's like after these charges where the rate drops really low. This one is not fully absorbed. You can see how low some people are. If this is not fully absorbed, you will probably have like all of these people are probably dead. So yeah, I think that is it. It is not as difficult for tanks, I think. Especially first phase is very stagnant. There's not much you can do. Third phase is where it gets more interesting for tanks, especially with you're soaking a lot of the orbs. You will take a lot of ticking damage, which not every tank can deal with very well. Make sure you have your cooldowns planned out for the blasts there. And I think you should be good to go. Yeah. Good luck on your progress. See you next time.